Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Practical Pet Chat. It is always good to be with you all. Thanks for spending time with Lorin and I. We really do appreciate you. And if you've got something you want us to talk about, reach out to us, practicalpetchat@gmail.com. This episode comes from those particular episodes emails. And you all have been asking kind of a similar question. I'm going to shrink it down for us today, Lorin. We're both getting asked, what's one thing I could do? What's a couple things I could do? What's the top 5 things? Just do something, is where I come down to. But I thought, okay, this would be a good exercise. Lorin, what are a couple things that folks could do this week, over the next month, to really have an impact with their pets?
I have 3 things,
Okay.
and I find that they're all equally important. Um, One would be feed better. Add real food to the bowl and do it as often as you can. And the more real food, the better. Um, that's going to affect health and longevity. Um, Fewer meds and vaccines would be number 2. Um, Too many vaccines, too many medications, too many antibiotics that are all handed out as a quick fix, Band-Aid, candy type situation. It seems like if you go to the vet and you're spending money, the vet feels pressured that you have to leave with something because you're spending money, and you feel like you haven't, that your concerns have been addressed if you leave with something in hand. And so many times it maybe isn't necessary. Um, and then number 3 is probably the simplest and the biggest. Um, Human beings have so much going on in their lives. They have work and friends and family and TV and social media and video games and I could go on and on, chores, errands, all these things. Pets have us, and that's their whole world. So the more that you can talk to them, interact with them, spend time with them, I don't think enough people really talk to their animals, like have a conversation. You think it's a one-way conversation. It's not. They're listening, they're paying attention, they're engaging with you, they're trying to figure you out, they're listening to your tone, they're trying to understand the words. My 2 dogs were playing earlier, and I came out, and one of them, her tongue was 3 feet long. She was so out of breath from playing. And I was like, okay, we need to stop now. Everybody needs to rest for a minute. I said, go down and get a drink of water. And I was talking to the one with 3-foot tongue. And both of them looked at me, turned around and looked at the bowl, and went down the stairs and got a drink of water. So it's not something I taught them. They have picked up enough words and follow through from words to understand what I meant. Of course, it's because they're brilliant. So it's unique to them, but really all animals are brilliant. And if you gave them the time and the attention and interacted with them, it's a form of love. It's more than just sharing space in the room. It's engaging. So however that is, it doesn't have to be a walk. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, because if you don't have time for a walk, if you work long hours, if you're medical personnel and that your schedule is 12-hour shifts and that kind of thing, and you don't have time to do a 30-minute walk or whatever, have a conversation, engage with them, talk to them, interact with them, play with them, pet them. Just the simplest things mean the world to them.
Yeah, read to them. I love it. I love it. So that is 3 really well-rounded and excellent ideas. I love those. I'm going to go a little bit less. I really like that. And I'll start with my first one, which is enrichment. And I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to everybody that they are taking their dogs for a walk. And if Bella jumps up on the table here, I know she's going to be her normal self. You can't say that word without her knowing. You can't spell it either without her knowing. So she's behaving, knowing I'm on camera. But one of the ways to take and shift that from what you're always doing is to just simply let them guide the walk. It is a different, I do different walks with Bella. And, you know, when we go, there are times when I've got a certain amount of time, I'm stretching my legs, I want to get some sunshine, it's after dinner, whatever it is. And we've got different routes that we go. And she's almost learned, like, she knows which kind of walk it's going to be. The walks I enjoy the most, though, are the ones where I can see her just overjoyed because I'm letting her take me on the path where she can stop and sniff for 3-4 minutes if she has to get all the, you know, smell mail out there. We may not get as far as we normally would on a walk, but she will feel and come back, and it will feel like she just did a 10-mile, you know, loop, because she was able to just really satisfy all of her senses in a way that sometimes when I'm guiding the walk, it's not going to happen. So I like that. Same thing with, like, even the good old puzzle feeders. Not necessarily Snuff-O-Mat. Just kidding, folks. If you don't know that reference, go back to one of our previous episodes. But that whole thing of just amping up the enrichment a couple times a week. That's something all of us can do. And we get so busy in our lives that we forget it's a simple thing. And I love that you called out. We are their worlds. They're watching, they're looking. It doesn't have to be a major shift to make a major difference in their lives and their enjoyment. So I love that. Another one I'm going to call out that I think is easy to do daily, weekly, monthly, but it's just take a look at how you're feeding, not just your food, but more importantly, the treats. Because this is the one that always seems to catch people, including myself. If I ask the family to track how many treats you gave, I just want count how many treats you give Bella today. I'm always surprised by the end of the day how high that number can get. And, you know, it's like one person, you know, oh, I only gave 3. Another person, oh, I gave, you know, 5. Oh, I only gave 4. And then I'm like, and I gave 10. So great. She got 25 treats, or the equivalent of a whole meal. We need to keep better track of that. It's almost like, did the dog get fed? Did the dog not get fed? Did we, you know, take the dog for a walk? Did we not take? How many times are we treating, and what are we treating is the other element of that can have a huge difference. I mean, just huge. So that's my number 2. And then this one's kind of, you know, the culmination of those, but going back to something you said really just sparked me and made me change to my number 3. And that is looking for those opportunities in your own daily routines. I do a lot of speaking engagements. And so I'm, you know, rehearsing my speaking, I'm writing, I'm this, I'm that. Bella sits in the office with me. She's my audience. And she's my best audience. But it is funny because she's listening. She's, you know, reacting. She's engaged, and I'm still doing what I have to do. And it's the same thing as I'm walking around, and I'll walk around and I'll do those things, and I'll give her hand signals to, you know, sit, stay, lay down. She's reacting right now. And so you know, build those in. I'm one of those talkers. If I'm on a long phone call, I'll get up, I'll walk out of my office, I walk throughout the entire downstairs. She's right there by my side. So I've learned to just build in some hand signs as we go. So even though I'm focused in my conversation and what I'm doing, I'm still engaging her in an otherwise missed opportunity. Because here's the reality to this, and I think this is something you and I both agree. Every minute is a training opportunity. Every minute is an enhancement, an enrichment opportunity with your pet when they're there with you, because that's how much they do hang on what we're doing and they notice what we're doing. Bella's got the cutest thing. She doesn't say the word yes, but she will do a downward dog bow when she really wants something. So I can say certain words and she'll wait until the one that she hears that and she does that. And it makes me so happy. I'd love to say that happened because I trained her to do that. I didn't. She was watching me. She was watching to see how I'd react. And she knows when she tells me something by doing that, I get the biggest smile every time. And she does that with the rest of the family, even when we have others come over to watch her. So to think that every minute is not a enrichment moment, a training moment, a interaction, you're missing that opportunity. So like you said, be present, be present. I guarantee you, when I'm looking at my phone, she's disappointed. Okay. Sometimes that's unavoidable and I have to do that. Sometimes, she'll even let me know. And that husky part of her, all of our different animals have their own natural instincts that will come out at different times. And it's just really funny because she'll talk to me. And we all have those instances where they put their head on our knees or they put their paw on us right when we needed that. That's not an instinct. That's an instinct plus knowing who we are at our core. And so the best way for us to do the same, be engaged every minute that we can. Realistically, it's not 100% of the time, but just like every other important being and thing that you're doing, make that happen.
Well, and keep in mind their lives are short. So that, 30 minutes that you're scrolling social media,
Yeah.
how many times on the final day do we all wish we had one more day?
Yeah. Well, and if you're going to do that, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody does that, right? Um, the length of time, that's where it goes wrong. But if you're doing that, I mean, there are times I'll sit there and I'll be like, Belle, can you believe this? And I'm telling her, yeah,
Right.
I'm watching things. I love watching husky videos. Folks out there, send me your husky videos of them talking. Um, Even, we do karaoke in our house because I've, got a daughter who's a theater kid and Bella loves singing, but she loves to be in the audience. And when we clap, she just gets up and, gets involved. There are just simple ways to involve them no matter what it is that you're doing. I can take the trash out of our house and I've got to walk around the house and over to the trash cans. And Belle knows when I pick up the trash can, the trash bag, I say to her every time, clear a path for me, Belle. And she's out the door and out the backyard looking for anybody who might want to jump me on my walk to the
And steal your trash.
yeah, because the squirrel circus is out there. You never know. One of those could, just drop down on me. And she's out there and she knows and she gets there and she sits down, waits for me to lift the lid, put it in there. And she's like, all right, we're going back to the house. We're going to do something here. And there are plenty of times where, she'll do something or trigger something that will just make me, I'm just going to enjoy this moment for a minute. And boy, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I make it a point now to go out and sit with her in the sun on the steps, 5 minutes every couple hours, just because I need that. Not even that she needs it, but I noticed how much better I felt after 5 minutes of sitting in the sun with her. It's just, it's beneficial for everybody. And I love your point. They are here for such a short time. It's always the guilt we feel, right? It's like,
Oh gosh.
gosh,
One of my dogs watches TV with us and she doesn't like scary music. She barks at it. She doesn't like people who run or creep. She barks at them. But she always, when she barks, she runs towards the TV and barks and then looks over her shoulder to say, I got you. You saw that, right? I scared him off. and we tell her she's good and that was the right thing to do and okay, that's enough. And she comes and lays down. And then she watches TV again to see when it happens again. So they try to be engaged and interactive with us, and it's so much harder on them
Oh
than
my
it is
gosh.
on us.
You just hit on something that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. Because people that come over are always surprised. Um, and this is like my number one training thing for folks. It's so funny. So, Bella sees somebody outside the house. What is a dog going to do? What's their job? Protect us, right? Like you said, they look over, look at us like, hey, I'll protect you. They start barking, barking, barking. I'm on important business calls. I've got all these other things going. The natural reaction is to try and shush, yell
Right.
no,
Stop it.
stop,
Stop it.
yeah, extreme, shut up, all the rest of that. People that have been here, all the rest of it, I will sit there and I will yell, thank you, Belle, because I want her to know, thank you, you did your job, and now you can stop. I'm aware. And, didn't happen the first, 100 times, but by 101, we got to the point where, okay, he acknowledged, he knows, and if he shows an impetus to further explore, he will. Otherwise, I've done my job. I put everybody on notice. And it's so funny because I can say, thank you, Belle. She'll stop barking. I don't even have to get up out of my chair. I don't have to. And folks will say, that is so weird. You thanked her and she stopped. Like, is thank you your stop word? I'm like, no, I thank her all the time. Because what else am I supposed to say? No, don't do what you're supposed to do
Right.
with the being. And it's really one of those, I see people do that quite often. It's like, if you're not working with their behaviors and reinforcing how you want it to be, but not in a amp it up way, oh my gosh, you're failing them and yourself. And
Well, I
so,
think you need to understand the why they're doing what they're doing. I mean,
yeah,
one of mine, when she wants my attention and it's almost dinner time, she is relentless. She's barking, but she's play barking. And if I even say, hang on a minute, she's like, nope. And we do this little keep away thing, and she's play barking because she wants me to know there's nothing bad going on, but you need to pay attention because, hello, it's dinner time,
dinner
and
time.
whatever you're doing is not as important as my stomach. And the other one sits there and lets her do all the work because she's got it all dialed in. And then as soon as I'm like, all right, you're right, it's time to eat, it all stops. Everybody runs to the kitchen. It's like, okay, dumb human got it. This is fabulous. And they work so hard at trying to communicate with us, and we miss it.
Yeah.
We so many times humans miss the cues or don't pay attention or don't understand or don't realize what's behind. I mean, how many different barks does Bella have? My kids
Oh, yeah.
are little tiny things, and every bark is something different. There's
Well,
different intonations for different things that are going on, and the difference between warning and somebody at the door and play and calling somebody. And if somebody's in the front room and they hear dad pulled up in the driveway, they have a
right,
particular bark because the other one that might be in another room all of a sudden is like, I gotta go, it's dad, and flies out of there. And it's not because she can hear the car where she's at, it's because she heard her sister bark that bark.
right.
So it's once you start to dial into all that, it's fascinating and it's so
Oh my
fun and
gosh.
enjoyable.
So speaking to that, I have an app that lets me know where my kids and all of us, so we all know where we're all at any given time. And what's so funny is, and Belle doesn't know what an app on the phone is, but she will be able to pick out, and she'll put her head up, and I always call it the submarine thing where the ears go and all that. She can identify a family member is home before I get the ding on the app that says that, so and so has arrived at location. And it's hilarious. But yet, speaking to the different barks, you and I were on the phone the other day, and I was like, oh my God. Because I heard the sound which told me there's another animal in the yard, and it was coyote. But then, I turned around and I said to you, I'm like, oh my God, I got it. Oh, wait. She was just out there playing with them. And, I get it, folks. You don't need to send me the emails. My dog is not a coyote. My dog is a dog. Okay. But they don't mess with her. That's fine. But we get so many wild animals through, and there are barks that I can tell, hey, Dad, there's danger in the yard. Hey, Dad, there's no problem. And the other interesting part is if my daughters are home, it's a different sensitivity level, because
Right.
if my daughters are home and a, animal like a coyote comes into the yard, it's a different tone that tells me, hey, get out here, let's run this thing off. As opposed to if it's me and her, and I know what you folks are all thinking, I think it too, maybe she set me up. If I don't show up for a few of these, Lauren, you know why, Bella. But the point being is, yeah, and what an amazing thing. Think about how all of these beings have the ability to communicate without the ability to communicate with words. And that's that other part of it is just, if you're present, if you're making those conscientious changes, if you don't let your dogs get up on the furniture, totally understand that. But then this week, not saying let them on the furniture, but instead of you sitting on the furniture, maybe you put a pillow down and you sit on the pillow with them this week. I'm pretty sure you're going to, at the end of the week, be going, oh, I've been missing a lot of hugs and snuggles and affection. So
Dude, it's called furniture. Let him on the furniture.
I'm with you on that. I have
It's
no
just a
problem.
couch or a chair or a bed. Who cares?
Yeah, no, no, I couldn't agree more. I think all of those things, it doesn't take a lot to elevate. It's one of those things that, and it's funny because I think when folks ask you and I these questions, they think we're going to give them some like life-changing advice of anything, and they're like, oh, well, yeah, I could do that. And I'm thinking, did they think I was going to give them some, E equals MC squared equation
But
to,
that is life changing. Those
but
those
and that's my
recommendations
point.
are.
That's my point, because I'll say, oh, are you already doing all those things? Because I see their reaction is almost disappointment. I'm like, you're already doing those things. I got a couple more, and they're like, no, 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 no. Let me start with a couple of those. That's fine.
Yeah.
And so I have to remind myself. So it's not a knock on people. It's just a like, hey, this is how simple it is that we can elevate for our pets. Um, and the rewards, that's the other part of it. The rewards are almost instantaneous.
Yeah.
That's the beauty part of it. They don't have to tell us with words. They can tell us. And here's how great it is. I brought up the letting, them dictate the walk that you take in the sniffing. If you ever want to see a peaceful angel with fur in your living room, let them do that for a half hour. You come back and they are just knocked out, asleep, enjoying every piece of information they just picked up. They are so peaceful. It will make you smile. Your heart will grow multiple sizes. I know mine does every time. It
Grinch.
doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot. Well, I've been called worse, so we'll get there. But yeah, I love this. It's a good topic. Good topic. And thank you all. Great questions. Keep them coming. There are a lot more that we could certainly cover, and we will cover. But Lauren, I think I've probably shared mine. I'm sure people are going to send the wow, he's sappy emails to you this week. Anything you want to share before we close this episode out?
No, I think that if you to what you had said, if you're present and you pay attention, um, oh my gosh, it's so worth it. It's so worth it. It's for the little bit of interruption, if you can call it that, interruption from what you are doing. The reward just it's 10 times whatever you gave up for the interruption.
Yeah, yeah. I would say um, it'll be interesting to see what sticks, what doesn't. Let us know what sticks for you, what works, what changes your behaviors. because of the things that you try. Reach out to us, practicalpetchat@gmail.com. As always, we know you've got a lot of things going on in your life. We appreciate getting to spend some time with you. Give your pet some extra belly rubs from us this week. Make a one change behavior, if not all 17 that we've suggested here today. Thanks for joining us here on Practical Pet Chat.
Bye, guys.
The content of this podcast is for informational purposes only. It is not intended as, nor should it be construed as, professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment for your pets. Always seek the advice of a qualified veterinarian with any questions you may have regarding your pet's health or medical condition. Never disregard professional veterinary advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast. The hosts and the guests of this podcast are not liable for any actions taken based on the information shared during these episodes. Any reliance on the information provided is solely at your own risk. Copyright 2025 Practical Pet Chat, all rights reserved. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or reproduction of any content from this podcast, including but not limited to audio, scripts, and show notes, is prohibited without prior written consent. The opinions and views expressed by the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Practical Pet Chat.